What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Football Game Show brought to you by Front Yard Fantasy here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, back after a little bit of time away here with my co-host, John Luke Garofalo, and a special guest, our great friend, Russ, a.k.a. Dynasty Outhouse, a.k.a. the king of the Scott Fishbowl Podathon, fresh off 20-plus hours of streaming to raise money for charity. Russ, thank you so much for joining us today, my friend.
I enjoy being here enough to not have noticed that I would be here after 20 plus hours of streaming already. And then once I realized that, I did not same day cancel on you. So
wow, what a great guest. That's right? A fantastic guest. An even better friend.
And if it was anyone else, I probably would have. But I like you guys, and I enjoy apparently losing to all of you. So
we like winning.
Back again.
Russ, if I was you, and this is the show I host, I would have same day canceled. So you're a better guest than I am host.
I texted Rocky this morning. I'm like, I love you. You're going to need to find another host tomorrow. Trade Addicts is not happening for me this week.
Suck it, Rocky. FYF wins. But we got some people in the chat ready for today's show and excited about SFB kicking off today. We got Herms down here. He's going to miss this one live, but he'll see us later for some pub trivia. That's a great reminder for everybody watching. We're going to play some games here with Russ right now. But tonight, if you want to be the contestant, we got some live pub trivia for you at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And this week's theme is Nickelodeon. So if you know your NFL, fantasy football, and your Nicktoons, there might be some more than Nicktoons in there. Come hang out with us for 30 trivia questions to prove you're the best. That's
all right. Wait. I'm older than all of you. How far back did you go?
We went back all the way from the OG, and we stopped before the new shit. So it's it's the golden ages of Nickelodeon.
All right.
I gotta ask you guys: Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, or Disney growing up?
Never Disney.
Never Disney.
But it was Nickelodeon because, like I said, I'm older than all of y'all, and I don't know when you got Cartoon Network, but I was a teenager by the time we got it. Now, don't get me wrong, I still Dexter's Lab, Powerpuff Girls, Cow and Chicken, like all of that stuff was absolutely my jam. Because even at 41, I'm a giant child. But I had to be like no choice. I grew up on Nickelodeon because the Disney cartoons back then were just not good.
For cartoons,
back then we had Saturday morning cartoons on like normal TV, like
not on Boomerang.
Yeah, exactly. So I grew up in a different age than you youngsters. Look at this gray going on. That's what's happening.
I've read about Saturday morning cartoons before, but never experienced it.
I feel like it was.
I'm just messing.
Like seriously, like you wake up before like nowadays. I would think I was crazy to wake up early on a Saturday. But back then, you wake up 6, 7 in the morning, pour your bowl, like you take one of those salad bowls or a mixing bowl, fill that with cereal.
Cocoa Puffs.
You're drinking out of it with a spatula, or whatever you like. Any large instrument you could find. Yeah, those were the days.
I feel like I grew up in the rare all three household where we watched Disney, Cartoon Network, and Nickelodeon. We were not beholden to one. I've got like childhood.
We watched all three. We had preferences on them.
Oh, you guys fought over it?
We just had preferences, like
in a very non-committal household. I get it.
Exactly. We couldn't make decisions on what to watch. We got Craig in the chat. We're going to ignore the first part here, but playing Fantasy Fortune today, Russ is undefeated.
So I think I deserve a place in the Hall of Fame I don't think I answered a single trivia question correctly, but I still ended up winning.
Solving puzzles like a champ. We got Scampers in here ready for today's show. Says beautiful afternoon, FYF fam. Excited to see Russ. We got Jay in here saying happy SPF 13 FYFers. That's a lot of letters in there that I'm impressed I got through. Dame in here says yo FYF peeps. What's up, Dame? Missed you. Dame. And we got one of our favorite Canadians in the chat, Toronto. Dave, thank you so much for coming.
And so many wonderful people in the chat here spent like the entire weekend with us. Love you all for that.
They're the best.
Dame down here throwing some love Russ's way, saying you kicked serious ass this weekend on the Podathon. And they are all agreeing with you right there. Jay says Ren or Stimpy or we riot. Well, you'll have to tune in to find out if Ren and Stimpy are included.
The original, yes. So good. You had no idea when you were a kid what the hell you were watching, and it's still so good, but
there's still don't know.
there's still levels that you pick up on, and still, the wonderful drugs that were passed around while that show was getting written.
It ages beautifully. Maria in here said, so sorry I'm late. That's okay. We will forgive it this
We were stalling for you, Maria. We haven't started yet.
We got
Albert here.
Saying hello, everyone. What's up, Albert?
What up, Albert?
And you're saying congrats, Simon. I appreciate it, Bob. Thank you so much.
Wait, what are we congratulating you on?
Being back on the show. Just kidding.
I just thought he was congratulating you for actually coming back.
No,
exactly.
I assume Bob is talking about my engagement. While I was away, I got engaged, and
let's go.
I couldn't be happier. And thank you so much, Bob, for the congratulations.
This is the first I'm hearing about it right now.
Yeah, sorry, I meant to text you, JL, after it happened.
Shoot. Did you tweet about it? How did Bob find out?
I messaged Bob right away. Just called him as soon as it happened.
Oh no, he was live. He held up the phone. He was letting Bob watch.
Bob actually took the photograph that I posted on Twitter. Bob was there. He traveled with me.
You invited Bob to travel with you to Europe?
JL, I've seen the pictures. I've seen the pictures you take.
If you have to bring someone with you, Bob Harris is not the worst person to bring with you.
Definitely not the worst person.
Just saying.
That'd be Scott Fish.
So nice.
He just litter bags all over the place. Bags and old clothes.
I did follow his travel methods, and I left a pair of shoes, 3 pairs of underpants in trash cans in hotels in Europe.
Wow.
That's impressive.
They're gone.
Impressive.
So Scott Fish, I learned from you.
That feels like you had to do that on purpose.
Yeah, that's the Scott Fish technique is bring clothes you're trying to get rid of on vacation and then don't bring them home with you.
Then dump them.
Victor,
you were just like pooping your pants all the time.
Oh, that was on accident, but I always pack for that.
Unrelated, but also true.
We got Victor in here saying, Brochacho, Simon is back. Smash that like button. What's up, Victor?
What up,
Glad
Victor?
to be back.
Welcome in.
And Dave with a congrats. Thank you so much, Dave. We had a question from Grim Fan in here before we get into our game about Doug Peterson signing his son, Josh Peterson, to the team. Russ, do you think this is going to have any effect on the tight end room there in Jacksonville?
I think maybe his son just needed some health insurance.
Yeah, that would check out. Did he turn 26 recently?
Yeah, right.
Why he got signed?
We need the details. Could he not find a job anywhere else? So keep him on his feet for a little while until he gets cut when the season starts. To make the roster cut downs. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would absolutely do that if I were a coach too, and I had the ability to hey, Nolan, I know you've never played football a day in your life and you love video games, but
just do it.
You're signed. Let's go. You're playing tight end.
Do it for dad.
John Luke, do you read any more into this, or are you agreeing with Russ that this is maybe more of a move of circumstance for the offseason?
He might play. I don't view this as like fantasy relevant, or like we probably won't hear Josh Peterson's name again in your life.
At least,
like maybe Doug Peterson's having problems in the locker room, so he puts Josh in there as a spy.
Oh
man, that coach guy, I really like what he's saying.
Yeah, I feel like Doug Peterson's the type of guy, the type of coach that he would be like, I'm recusing myself from any decisions regarding my son.
I just feel like that would be the least sneaky spy he could put in the locker room. Yeah. His own son. You know what I mean? Like no one would ever see it coming. Here comes Josh Peterson.
His previously not in the NFL son, who is now currently in the NFL son.
Also, Victor said, wow, Josh Peterson turns 26 in September, LOL. He does need health insurance.
I think we're on to something.
Russ, you figured it out. You cracked the case. That's what's going on here. Well, Russ, today we brought you here to play a game we call Fantasy Fortune, one that you are undefeated in so far. We'll see if you can keep that streak going. Before we get into that, though, a couple reminders. First and foremost, if you're not already following our friend Russ, you need to go and fix that right now. The chat has been singing his praises for what he did for the Scott Fish Bowl, and he's an incredible analyst. You can find all of his work at Dynasty Outhouse. So make sure you go and follow him at Dynasty Outhouse. The link is below this video in the YouTube description, or you can just type it in. It's pretty easy to find as well. After you follow him, come on back over here to our YouTube channel. If you're watching on FYF or on BSN, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And the little notification bell is the easiest way to make sure you don't miss us every day at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And then tonight, if you've got that notification bell live, it'll hit you up again right before 8 p.m. when we go live for some fantasy football pub trivia, Nickelodeon themed. So come hang out, answer trivia about football, about Nicktoons, and see if you can come out on top. We got some previous champions in the chat with us right now. Dame usually shows up pretty strong. So see if you can come beat her. You guys ready to get into some Fantasy Fortune?
Let's do it.
Okay, I'm going to pull this up, explain the rules, and then we will get started. The game today, Fantasy Fortune, is a lot like the popular TV show Wheel of Fortune, but with an NFL or fantasy football twist. Instead of spinning a wheel, contestants are going to be answering 50-50 NFL or fantasy-related trivia questions that I throw their way. Something like who scored more PPR fantasy points last year, Mark Andrews or Saquon Barkley. If you get the question right, you're going to get to guess a consonant that you think appears in the puzzle that will be on the board in front of you. For every instance of this consonant that shows up, you're going to add $500 to your round bank. And that's the end of the rules because I forgot what came next. It's been a minute, guys. I was gone for 10 days. No, you can do this.
Now do it in Dutch.
Now do it in Dutch. You can do this up to 3 times on your turn. That is, answer a question correctly, guess a consonant correctly. If at any point during your turn, though, either of those things is wrong, a letter doesn't appear on the board, or you get the question wrong, your turn will automatically be over. We will end your turn after the 3rd successful round, though. You'll have a shot to solve the puzzle, but you're going to bank all of that money that you have earned if you are able to do that. Now, during your turn, there are 2 other options you can take at any point before a question has been asked. You can choose to buy a vowel at a cost of 100 per instance it shows up with a max of 500. In order to do this, I'll require you have a minimum of 500 in your round bank to cover the cost of said vowels, or you can choose to solve the puzzle. If you solve it, you're going to bank all the money you've earned or $1,000, whichever is higher. So you'll get a minimum of $1,000 for solving. We'll go like this till we run out of puzzles or run out of time or I run out of clean underpants, at which point we will end the show and whoever has the most money will be our fantasy
or dirty underpants
champion. Or dirty underpants. I will be the champion in that case, but we're going to give you guys the title, one of you. You guys ready to get into it?
Yeah.
You ready, Russ?
If I have to say yes, then yes.
Bob Harris in here said, I feel Russ should recuse himself from anything to do with tacos. Russ,
Never.
do you swear to do that?
No.
No.
Do you pinky promise?
What's the opposite of recuse? I accuse myself of anything with tacos, whatever that is. If there's tacos, I'm there.
There you go.
Russ is incusing himself of anything.
Incuse, yeah.
Tacos.
I'll take it.
Scampers down here said JL is looking extra vibrant today, not having to host.
I don't have to host.
But I do
don't
love
have
being
to
on
host.
with JL every single time because we got something in common.
You got that tea love.
Yep.
Yep, that Higgins love.
Scott Fishing here, the man himself. Happy Scott Fishbowl birthday, Scott. He said, big congrats, Simon. He says, I'm about 5 minutes behind and plan on commenting on what is airing on my 5 minutes back feed.
Can't wait. We're looking forward to that in 5 minutes.
Also, Jay wants to know what's today's prize before we get in there. Today's prize is a whopping $25 in Kohl's cash. We will have that faxed to you within 48 business hours as long as you send over your fax number.
Look, you might be somewhat joking. My mother-in-law emailed me a coupon for Kohl's that there's a big sale going on. So
get ready.
My fax number.
The stakes are high today, Russ. All right. Well, we're going to get into our first puzzle here, and all of the rules I just told you, you can throw out the window because this one's a little bit different. It's going to be a toss-up puzzle, which means I'm just going to slowly reveal letters of this NFL player's name. When you think you know who it is, you buzz in by saying your own name. You'll guess it. If you get it right, you're going to earn $500. If you're wrong, you'll get nothing, and you're out until the first round. You guys ready?
Ready?
Yep.
A reminder to our contestants to stay out of the chat, and a reminder to everybody in the chat to play along in the chat. Throw your answers in there.
Wait, I was too busy counting letters. Do I say my name to buzz in? Is that what you said? Or just yell it out?
Yes, you say your name to buzz in.
All right.
Bob Harris in here with the hashtag Eagle Scream. Ooh, it might be too early for an Eagle Scream. We'll see if we get one in there. All right, I'm going to start revealing letters. Buzz in when you think you know it.
Bruh. Nope.
JL.
Bruh.
Okay, I got JL in there because Russ pulled his. John Luke.
Yeah, no. That's my bad. Yeah.
Who is this?
Latavius Murray.
Yeah.
This is Latavius Murray, JL. Going to earn you $500.
I pulled the Jeopardy method there. I buzzed in before I knew it.
I'm glad I stopped myself because I would have said the wrong name the first time I went to talk. I was pulling the same thing. And then 2 more letters came out and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm too late. But
that is the worst when you start saying your name and then that one letter gets inserted right when you say your name.
Yep.
The reason I picked Latavius Murray for this puzzle is it's draft season now, right? Like we're going in and we're digging deep and we're starting to go through all the players. And I was trying to remind myself of players that every year I just write off as done. And then for some reason, some way, somehow they find fantasy relevancy. And I feel like that's Latavius Murray. And now he's on the Buffalo Bills, Russ, do you have interest in Latavius Murray as like a late round fantasy running back? Do you think he does it again this year where he just sneaks fantasy value out for you?
Man, like I was thinking about Damian Harris in that light. I like even I keep forgetting that he's there, but Damian Harris is good. Like he's going to get the ball. And one injury to either Cook or Harris, which we've seen Harris get hurt. Annoyingly, yes, Latavius Murray can absolutely come back and start stealing fantasy relevance, and it will probably happen.
John Luke, are you with Russ here? Do you think he's worth drafting in the late rounds? With
I never said he was worth drafting. I just said it was going to happen.
You're right. Putting words in Russ's mouth.
Don't put nothing in Russ's mouth. He told you so many times. Except tacos. That's one rule.
Oh yeah, tacos allowed. Tacos allowed.
Tacos are allowed. Yeah, I agree with Russ that he'll be likely just mixed into that offense. I'm not too concerned for fantasy purposes. He might be one of those like desperate weak streamers. He's good enough to get those goal line carries and be that backup running back for a star. And so I do expect him to get worked in his offense. Not consistently enough for fantasy though.
Yeah. Russ, I think you hit on a point there. It's probably going to take an injury in front of him for there to be consistent fantasy relevance, but
sabotage.
He does play running back, and there's a lot of sabotage and injury at the running back position.
There should be.
Ever since Tyrod Taylor like magically got a injection into his lung or whatever it was that got Justin Herbert to start.
Yeah,
I write nothing off as accidents at this point in the NFL. Like really that which of course it worked so well right away with Justin Herbert. Like there was no grace period for Justin Herbert. He came in and he was awesome. Like they knew.
How convenient.
Like right? Like sorry, Tyrod Taylor, that sucks. But like it's a little sneaky.
Yeah, don't accept shots from random people.
Good advice.
Team doctors.
Or team doctors who you should trust.
Life advice.
Scamper's down here said Matt Breida will have himself a week 2 teams from now. Yeah, that's another one of those players where you don't even think about them. Then all of a sudden they're winning the person that you're playing this week for you.
I like the idea of like predicting players' performance in future teams.
That could be years from now as well. Who knows where Breida will end up. John Luke, that is going to give you a early small lead as we go into puzzle number 2, and you will get to go first in this one. After
too many letters.
Puzzle. This category is rhyme time. We've had puzzles in the past, like playing clarinet with Jacoby Brissett, or eating a sub with Nick Chubb. I don't know, just different things.
Oh, that wasn't one we did, but I like it.
Damn it, I should have saved that one.
Eating a sub with Nick Chubb.
You are first in this puzzle. Would you like a question? Would you like to solve this puzzle, or those are the only things you can do right now?
I would like a question. Is the sub vegetarian?
It depends on who's eating it.
Me and Nick Chubb.
Yes, the sub is vegetarian.
Yes. All right, sweet. Okay, I would like a question.
Okay, my question for you is who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Ramondre Stevenson or was it Jamal Williams?
Jamal Williams.
I'm sorry, John Luke. The number 7 PPR running back was Ramondre Stevenson last season. Which means, Russ, we are to you. Would you like a question or would you like to solve this puzzle?
Question, please.
Okay. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Leonard Fournette or was it Tony Pollard?
Pollard.
Pollard is correct. Which letter would you like, Russ?
R.
R. There's one R in this puzzle.
That is not helpful.
Gonna add 500 to your round bank. Would you like to solve this puzzle, Russ? Would you like to buy a vowel or would you like your second question?
All right, I need a question.
Okay, here we go. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it DeAndre Swift or was it Joe Mixon?
It was probably Mixon.
It was Mixon, Russ. Which letter would you like?
S.
S. There is one S in this puzzle. Going to add another 500. Chipping away slowly but surely. We're about to move into your third and final question. So this is your last opportunity to buy vowels if you would like to do so, or we can jump straight into it, or you can solve.
I'm so angry that I know some of it and not the rest of it. Just give me a question.
Okay. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it DJ Moore or was it Tyler Lockett?
I'll roll with Tyler Lockett.
And you would roll the right way, Russ. Which letter would you like?
T.
T. As in taco. There are 2 T's in this puzzle. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to solve, but Russ, you will bank all of this money, regardless of if you can solve the puzzle. We are going to move on to jail, but Russ, that's $2,000 into your.
Thought you had it for sure, Russ.
I know more of it than I should, but go ahead.
Toaster. Is what it looks like it says now. John Luke, would you like to solve this puzzle or would you like a question?
I need another question.
Okay, who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Christian Kirk or was it AJ Brown?
Brown.
Brown is correct. Which letter would you like?
Let's go with an H.
H. There are 1, 2, 3 H's in this puzzle. Going to add 1,500 to your round bank. What's the move, John Luke? Buying a vowel, taking another question, or solving this baby?
May I buy an E?
Sure.
No.
There are 1, 2, 3, 4 E's in this puzzle. Going to subtract 400 from your round bank, and your options remain the same.
Can I buy an I?
You can buy an I. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the maximum amount possible. John Luke, you still have enough to buy more vowels, so all of your options remain the same. It's up to you what you would like to do next.
I would like another question.
Okay. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Mike Williams or was it Christian Watson?
Mike Williams.
Mike Williams is correct, John Luke. Thought that was a tricky one. Which letter would you like?
Let's go with an L.
An L. That is 3 L's, another 1,500 in there, John Luke. This is your last opportunity to buy vowels if you would like to do so. Otherwise, we'll move on to your third and final question.
May I buy an A, Simon?
Sure you can. 3 A's, going to subtract another 300.
I will take another question.
Okay, your third and final question. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it A.J. Dillon or was it Rashad White?
Ooh.
What was this that again?
PPR fantasy points.
A.J. Dillon or Rashad White? Rashad White.
I'm sorry, John. It was A.J. Dillon. So close to banking that money, but we are back to you, Russ. You can solve this puzzle or you can take a question.
I'm going to solve it.
No.
Okay.
Hiking mountains in Nepal with Breece Hall.
That is what you're doing. Hiking mountains in Nepal with Breece Hall. Nice job, Russ. Going to earn you an additional $1,000 for solving that one.
I knew Breece Hall so quickly, and then you gave the E's, and I'm like, but then it took me forever to figure out what Nepal was.
Nepal.
So thank you for buying that A for me. I appreciate it.
You're very
Dane
welcome.
came in early, thought it was Marlon Mack, and then said, I'm shocked. Justin was the first one to figure out Breece Hall. Jay came in with hiking, and then Tim pieced it all together. Hiking mountains in Nepal with Breece Hall.
That sounds delightful.
Doesn't it?
That sounds awful.
The hiking part of
You know, like, take the Breece Hall part out. I'm sure Breece Hall's a great guy, and hanging out with him is wonderful. I do not want to go hiking mountains, no less in Nepal. I'm sure it's a beautiful view. Like, take pictures. I'll look at them. That's
very far, very cold, and very, very tiring.
Very dangerous most of the time.
terrible.
Well, let's assume he's not hiking mountains and that he's going to play football this year. Breece Hall's ADP is continuing to rise to a point where it almost can't rise any higher. A top 5 running back is about where he's being drafted right now. Russ, are your expectations in line with his ADP right now?
The only thing that's going to hold him back from that is it'll probably take him a few weeks to get game speed up. You know, he got hurt not mid-season-ish, so it'll probably take a couple of games to get like full health from just a regular ACL tear. But points per game wise, when he gets towards the end, like week 6 on, yeah, he's my running back 2 to 4-ish. Since I don't do rankings, I'm not going to give a real number because I don't want to have to defend that in any way, shape, or form because I'm making it up as I go along. but like he's absolutely a top 5 running back for me.
John Luke, where do you land on Breece Hall in Dynasty? Is he surpassing the current top tier of running backs for you, or are you putting him below some of the more proven NFL assets right now?
Can you put some names behind who you're thinking of?
Let's talk Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, maybe the next generation, the Kenneth Walker, who else, Russ? What other names would you throw up there at the
Travis
top?
Etienne
Travis
might be
Etienne.
up there for people.
I feel like Breece Hall, he is in that top echelon of dynasty running backs.
Christian McCaffrey.
So he's a good one.
Latavius Murray.
Latavius, MF, and Murray.
He was not joking. He is sticking that 5 minutes behind.
He said, "Oh, you guys."
Oh, you guys. It's so late. Yeah, Breece Hall, I'm not too worried about. In Dynasty, he is one of those top echelon players. And I think it's because of the timing, like the time period that we're in, where we're in this transition period between like those upper echelon of players who are kind of transitioning out. They're that 26, 27-year-olds, Christian McCaffreys, the Saquon Barkleys, the Alvin Kamaras. And we're going to see Breece Hall in this next class, like generation, kind of take over and be the main guys. Breece Hall seems to be the top, like the most sure thing in that group. But I think it's going to shift a lot in the next few seasons.
I think it'll be fun to see how the Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, Bijan Robinson hierarchy kind of plays itself out this season.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be shocked if one of them, there's a big surprise either up or down with the direction that they go. This running back landscape changes quickly.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
running backs.
Yeah.
So
much draft them at the end. Just get all your wide receivers and figure out running back later. Russ, you've got an early lead, 3,000 to 500 on that one after JL bought all the vowels for you.
Bungled it.
But there are a lot more puzzles left in today's game. We're going to pull up puzzle number 3. Russ, you solved that one, which means John Luke is going to be going first on this next puzzle. And your category is same position and college. So these are players that play the same position and went to the same college. Not necessarily or not necessarily at the same time. I am saying nothing about the time frame with which they went there is what I'm trying to get across there. All right, John Luke, you're up first. Would you like a question or would you like to solve this puzzle?
I need a question.
Okay, we're going to do a couple more PPR fantasy points here. Which player had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Cam Akers or was it Ezekiel Elliott?
Oh, Zeke.
John Luke, you're absolutely correct. It was Ezekiel Elliott. Which letter would you like?
Let's go with an S, please.
An S as in stupid, Simon. Why'd you write this puzzle?
Yes.
Okay. There are 2 S's in this puzzle. Going to add 1,000 to your round bank. Would you like to buy a vowel? Would you like to solve or would you like question number 2?
Back to the drawing board. I'll take question number 2.
Ain't that the worst when the first letter ruins everything you thought it was?
I'm like, oh, I got it. Oh, no, I don't.
All right, John Luke. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Dawson Knox or was it Hunter Henry?
Hunter Henry?
I'm sorry. It was Dawson Knox, John Luke, which means we're going to move on to Russ. Russ, are you ready for a question or do you think you can solve this puzzle?
I'm ready for a question.
Okay, here we go. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Gerald Everett or was it Chigoziem Okonkwo?
Okonkwo.
I am sorry. It was Gerald Everett with more PPR fantasy points last season.
Are you allowed to say if these are only fantasy relevant positions?
Yes, these are all the quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end.
Thank you.
No kickers in here either. So this will be a flex or a super flex position that is in here. John Luke, would you like a question or would you like to solve? Or would you like to buy a vowel?
I need a question.
Okay, we're going to move over to some rushing yards statistics now. What I want to know is who had more rushing yards last season? Was it Dameon Pierce or was it Cam Akers? More Cam Akers
Dameon
questions
Pierce
for you. And that is absolutely correct, John Luke. Which letter would you like?
Sure, you give him an easy question.
That's the
I
plan.
need
Try
him.
we had a meeting before this on how can we screw Russ with this on this game.
Well, yeah, every time I'm on, I feel like that meeting happens. I get it.
It's
Joey
nice
was
when
on
you're
this
on.
one.
Level the playing field. I get it.
Yeah. Let's go with an N.
An N. There are 4 N's in
Oh.
this puzzle. Mama mia. That's $2,000, John Luke. What are you going to do with all that money?
I am going to purchase a vowel.
Okay.
And that vowel is an O.
An O. There is 1 O in this puzzle. Going to subtract 100.
I'll buy another one, and that will be an A.
An A. There are
Whoa.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But like I said, a maximum of 500 will be subtracted from your score. Would you like your second question, John Luke? Would you like to buy another vowel?
I would like to buy another vowel, and that vowel would like to be an E.
An E. There are 3 E's in this puzzle. 1, 2, 3.
My brain is stopping. It's not working. I'll take another question.
Okay, John Luke. Who had more rushing yards last season?
I just got it.
Was it Cordero Patterson or was it Brian Robinson Jr.?
Robinson.
Robinson is correct by about 150 yards. Which letter would you like, JL?
I will take an R, please.
There are 2 R's in this puzzle. Going to add a grand here. JL, it sounded like you wanted to solve this.
Yes, I would like to solve Israel Abanikanda and James Conner.
John Luke, it is Israel Abanikanda and James Conner giving you the slight lead of your opponent. Russ there buying all the vowels and getting some big time letters in that one.
The desperation vowel strategy pays off.
It does not pay off often. Usually the desperation vowel strategy just means you buy all the vowels for your opponent.
For everybody else, yeah.
Scampers in here was the first one to piece it together with Israel Abanikanda and James Conner.
I had Abanikanda faster than I thought I would, but I was guessing James just because of the amount of letters, and I think the E was there or something. But yeah, it took me a while to get Conner.
Russ, do you have any excitement for James Conner this year? He was a fantasy relevant piece last year, but all of the hype about this Arizona offense has just died.
But there's literally no one else to run the ball. I love Keontae Ingram. I love the player coming in, but he's not going to overtake James Conner. And while that offense is going to be bad, and you don't necessarily like running backs on bad offenses, but who else is there? So he'll be usable. I don't think he'll be like a top 10 running back or anything, but 12 teams start 10. You'll be starting James Conner plenty.
Yeah. John Luke, do you have equal, maybe excitement's probably the wrong word, moderate optimism for James Conner in that Cardinals offense?
I hesitate to call it moderate optimism. I think I have a similar feeling as Russ in that, I guess that's good. There should be opportunity for him, but I haven't really liked what I've seen out of James Conner the last 2 years. And even 2 years ago when he had that excellent season, it was really on the back of those goal line carries, those touchdowns. So I'm not as bullish on James Conner this season. I don't know that they're going to utilize the run game because I'm not really sure what their strategy is. I'm not seeing an overall strategy from them. Yeah, lose. And if that's the case, maybe that results in James Conner getting fed. Maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, they could the game plan could be give the ball to James Conner 25 times a game and lose.
Right.
That could just be what
also
they do.
be get behind and pass the ball a ton.
Yeah. Which, man, I can't. I was going to say, I can't imagine with the amount of pressure that is on Kyler Murray publicly that would be the right strategy as a first-year head coach to take, to put all the pressure on your quarterback in such a losing season.
Unless you're willing to burn Kyler Murray and put that pressure on him.
No, that's why they're doing. They're going to, crash for Caleb, trade Kyler, and start over.
Yeah, if you don't set him up for success and he just fails on his own, then you can blame him.
You're right. Maybe I was thinking too nicely of Mr. Gannon over there.
A little too optimistic for today's NFL.
I'm so naive. Mr. Scampers down here said I was really trying to stretch Isaiah McKenzie's last name one more letter. Isaiah McKenzie. I like the way you went about it. Mackenzie. All right, well, guys, we're going to move on to our next puzzle. JL has the ever so slight lead here, but it is still very much so anybody's game. This next category is, what are you doing? This is going to be something that you might be doing as a fantasy football player. That's all the information I'm going to give you. Russ, you are up first. Would you like a question or would you like to solve this puzzle?
Question, please.
Okay, who had more rushing yards last season? Who had more rushing yards last season? Was it Najee Harris or was it David Montgomery?
Najee Harris.
You are absolutely correct. The 1,000-yard rusher, Najee Harris, beat out David Montgomery. That one didn't feel like 1,000 yards from Najee Harris. Which letter would you like?
Or like, all right, how injured was David Montgomery? Did that make up for the bad Steelers offense? All right, I'm going to go with a T, please.
T. Well, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 T's, Russ, off to a hot start. You can now purchase a vowel, solve this puzzle, or move on to your second question, whatever you would like to do here.
Second question, please.
Okay. Here's my question for you. Who had more receiving yards last season? Who had more receiving yards last season? Was it Chris Godwin or was it Jacoby Myers?
I just like Chris Godwin better, so I'm going to say that. I'm hoping this is a trap, or you want me to say Myers, but the answer is still Godwin.
Russ, I wanted you to say Godwin because the answer is Godwin, and I'm on your team. Nice job. Which letter would you like?
N, please.
An N. There are 2 N's in this puzzle. Going to add another 1,000. This will be your last opportunity to buy vowels this turn. You can solve, or we can move into your third and final question.
I'll just take a question.
Okay. Here we go. Your third question. Who had more receiving yards last season? Who had more receiving yards last season? Was it George Pickens or was it Juju Smith-Schuster?
That's rough. Juju?
Juju is absolutely correct, Russ. You didn't fall for any of my traps. Which letter would you like?
S.
S. There is 1 S in this puzzle. Going to add another 500. You're going to bank all $4,000 there, Russ.
Oh, no.
But you got 5 seconds to solve. We're going to move on to John Luke, but not before we bank all of that money. Giving you the lead back and a pretty steady one at that. JL, it is your turn. Would you like to solve this puzzle or would you like a question?
Question.
Okay. My question for you is, who had more receiving yards last season? Who had more receiving yards last season? Was it Tyler Boyd or was it Deontay Johnson?
Why would you do this to me? Deontay Johnson.
Deontay Johnson is correct, JL. Which letter
That's
would you
easier
like?
than I thought. Let's go with... Ooh, let's go with the L.
L.
Ooh.
There is 1 L in this puzzle, JL. Going to add 500 to your round bank. You can buy a vowel, you can solve, or you can move on to question number 2.
I'll take question number 2, please.
Question number 2, who had more receiving yards last season? Who had more receiving yards last season? Was it Amon-Ra St. Brown or was it Chris Olave?
Amon-Ra?
Amon-Ra would be correct, JL.
Let's
Which letter would you
go.
like?
Oh, okay. Let's go with an R.
R. There are 2 R's in this puzzle. Going to add $1,000. This is your last opportunity to buy vowels this turn. You can solve or we can move on to question number 3.
I would.
Did JL freeze on us, Russ?
I think that gives me the ultimate victory, right? Like I just win because he's out.
Am I back?
You're back.
No, I would like to solve.
Okay.
No.
Tilting after just 1 draft pick.
Wow.
This is tilting after just 1 draft pick. Nice job, JL.
Thank you.
And have you ever fallen prey to this in a draft?
After just 1 draft pick? Probably.
I feel like I immediately did it in Scott Fishbowl.
Oh no! Would you go
panicked.
first?
No, I like the pick. It just wasn't. I didn't do it in any of the mock drafts that I did. Not a single one that I draft Mark Andrews with the 111. And then I got there and I just did it. And now the whole draft strategy, everything I prepared for, out the window. Out the window.
Having a strategy is your own fault. You should never have that. I spent 36 hours over this weekend asking every single guest on the podathon who I should draft at the 101. Almost no one said Mahomes, and that's who I ended up taking because I just straight up chickened out. Like everyone's like, take Kelsey, positional advantage. Take Josh Allen, because you want those points. You know what? You want the rushing quarterback, but Allen's a little too chalk. Take Hurts. And I'm just like, that all makes sense. I don't know what I'm going to do. And then I got there and I froze. And I'm just like, Mahomes is safe. And like, I wanted Hurts. I really wanted Hurts, but I knew in my heart that it's really funny because I wasn't tilting after one pick, but if I took Hurts and didn't get Devonta later on, I would have hated my team and just quit.
Full tilt. That would have been.
Full tilt.
And like, I can't stack Mahomes with Kelsey, and I don't care enough about the rest of them to even want to. So it's just like, okay, I'm going Mahomes, and that's just, I don't have to worry now.
Maybe you can draft one of like the 48 wide receivers in the 18th round, and you don't even have to worry
I'll
about
grab Rashee Rice down in them 20s, right? Like,
there you go. That's all the stack you need. Dustin said this puzzle feels targeted at Russ, who was struggling with his 101, and Scott Fishel right there.
Yep.
And Scott said, I knew the entire time Russ was taking Mahomes.
Knew it 5 minutes before it happened.
And Scamper said, naked Mahomes. Yes, indeed.
Naked
Just
Mahomes.
a nice naked Mahomes pick there at the 101. Tim came in here and got tilting, was the first one to figure that out. There was a lot of people thinking it was texting. We had a lot of people thinking it was texting coming up. And then Dustin pieced it all together, tilting after just one draft pick. Nice job, guys, figuring that one out.
Very good one.
Well done.
Also, Scott said, but more than that, I knew that he could not click the button on Kelsey at all.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Scott knew that about me. There's no way I had the chutzpah to go do that.
I told you my first draft pick. It's the second draft pick where you can tell maybe I tilted a little bit. I then drafted TJ Hawkinson in the second round. So my team started Mark Andrews, TJ Hawkinson, baby.
Why?
Sal Lito, who was really hosting, was saying that's what he wanted to do from the 111. He wanted to go Andrews Hawkinson. I don't know if it actually happened or not, but he spent the weekend saying that's what he wanted. Well,
Sal, I'm living your dream. If that's
I also don't know if it's great for you that you did something Sal wanted to do.
I'm on Team Sal. At least now I am after he said that was his strategy. John Luke, you made up some ground by solving that puzzle, but Russ still has the lead, and Russ will be going first on this next puzzle here. This is a player band mashup, and this was submitted by our friend Dustin in the chat. So Dustin, you cannot be playing along because I know you know the answer to this one. Russ, you are up first. Would you like to solve? Would you like a question? Or that's it. Those are your two options.
When you do this, it's like name game rules. Like it's full name, full band name. We're not cutting out letters or anything.
No, we are not nearly as rigid as you. Sometimes letters are cut out. Sometimes it's mashed up in a way that pisses everyone off. Sometimes it's beautifully constructed. But there's no constraints on how we mash things together here.
Once I did a player movie mashup that was just Michael Gallup. It was just
because of Up.
Oh, I was going to say with the movie Michael, but that's a lot less known.
It was actually 3 movies.
Yeah. I should have put that in there.
All right, you can give me a question.
Okay, I will. Russ, what I want to know is who had more receiving touchdowns last season? Who had more receiving touchdowns? Was it Amari Cooper or was it Terry McLaurin?
Cooper?
Cooper is absolutely correct with 9 to McLaurin's 5. Which letter would you like?
N.
N. There are 3 N's in this puzzle. Going to add 1,500 to your round score. You can choose to buy a vowel. You can take another question, or you can solve this puzzle. Also, I see Dustin down here saying, I did? Yeah, you sent me some good ones a while back. I've been holding on to them, using them sparingly throughout the games.
I guess I'll take another. See, I hate this because I'll take a question.
A question, foregoing the vowels. Russ, my question for you is who had more receiving touchdowns last season? Who had more receiving touchdowns last season? Was it CeeDee Lamb or was it Alan Lazard?
God, I hope it's CD Lamb.
God, you would hope correctly. Which letter would you like, Russ?
S.
S. There are 4 S's in this puzzle. Going to add another 2K here. Your options remain the same. You can choose to buy a vowel. You can solve this puzzle, or you can take your third and final question. What's it going to be, Russ?
I guess I'll take another question.
Okay, question number 3. With Scott Fishbowl among us and first downs being ever so important in that league, we're going to ask some first down questions from last year. Which one of these players had more receiving first downs last season? Was it Stephon Diggs or was it Devonta Smith?
Who was the first person again? Sorry.
Stephon Diggs.
Oh, I just love Devonta, so I'm going to say Devonta.
I'm sorry. It is Stephon Diggs with 74 to Devonta Smith's 57. John Luke, we are on to you. Would you like to solve this puzzle? Would you like a question, or those are your only options because you have no money?
I would like to solve.
Okay.
Guns and Josh Rosen's.
This is Guns and Josh
You
Rosen.
idiot. You
Like,
two
I'm like-
idiots.
Guns N' Rose, what? Like, I didn't.
Oh my
Structure.
god.
Have some structure.
So dumb.
Dustin sent this one to me, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and I've just been giggling about it ever since. I've just
Oh
been
my
sitting there,
God.
couldn't wait to get this in there.
Guns and Josh Rosen.
That's why I asked, because I knew right away that was some form of Guns N' Roses. I did not think it would be that form of Guns N' Roses.
I couldn't think of another band that has a N apostrophe in the middle of it.
And I'm like,
that.
is this Boys to Men somehow? No. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe the apostrophe gave it away
Guns
a
and
little bit.
Josh Rosen's.
I was a little bit disappointed. Like, originally I wrote the puzzle with the word "and" in the middle.
No, that's
and
not
then,
how you.
I know. And then I looked at it and I was like, that is so wrong. I have to spell it right. Even if it gives the puzzle.
we would've-
away.
Even if I got the
wrecked you.
puzzle right, I would have protested that you had the word "and" in there. So congratulations on solving that, and congratulations not making yourself look silly, Simon.
Thank you.
You
Thank
did it
I
again.
appreciate that. It's not often that I accomplish that. Scampers in here got Guns and Josh Rosen's. Nice job.
Nice.
And Dustin said, LOL, I laughed so hard when I sent that
That's so
assignment.
dumb.
It was a good one. If you think that one's dumb, just wait till you see some of the other ones Dustin sent me.
Oh, great.
All right. Well, guys, we got time for at least one more puzzle here. It is a close game. JL solved that one, which means Russ is going to be up first next. This category is NFL headlines. NFL headlines. So this is going to be an off-season headline, some news that's going on around the league. Russ, you are up first. Would you like a question, or would you like to solve this puzzle?
You say nudes going around the league?
This is about nudes going around the league. Yeah. We were
Brock
already
Purdy.
talking
Again.
right on cue. Victor in here saying, did someone say naked Mahomes? Someone did say
Someone
naked
did, it
Mahomes.
turns out.
I will just like to point out that we did this a year ago, and it was talking about Tevin Coleman, so it doesn't have to be like relevant news.
Yeah.
I'll take a question.
Weirdly enough, this is another Tevin Coleman headline. Who had more receiving first downs last season? Who had more receiving first downs last season? Was it Michael Pittman Jr. or was it Devontae Adams?
Adams.
Adams is absolutely correct. Which letter would you like, Russ?
L.
An L. There
give
are
it an L.
no L's
Wow, that is
in
the-
I'll give you
this
an L, all right.
puzzle.
Wow.
That's brutal. John Luke, you are up. Would you like a question, or would you like to solve this puzzle?
I would like a question that's easier than the one you gave Russ, please. Thank you.
Okay, I'll see what I can do. Who had more receiving first downs last season? Who had more receiving first downs last season? Was it Jalen Waddle or was it Brandon Ayuk?
Ayuk?
I'm sorry, John Luke. It was Jalen Waddle, which means we're back to Russ.
Waddle.
Russ.
Before you give me a question, I need to say you need to start believing in the Oxford comma. But go ahead.
Never.
I will
It's
say I
America.
do believe in the Oxford comma and was very restrained in the line lengths on this puzzle. It bothered me for
fair
a
enough,
long
fair enough,
time.
fair enough.
I debated back and forth on even including this one in here because I couldn't fit that comma on the line. All right, Russ, here's your next question. We're going to move back over to some receiving yards questions. What I want to know is who had more receiving yards last season? Was it Garrett Wilson or was it Zay Jones?
I'm going to have fun and say Zay Jones.
Well, I hope you have fun losing because that is the wrong answer, Russ.
How fun is that? How great is that? That worked out.
John Luke, we are on to you. Are you ready for your next question?
Let's do it.
Okay, who had more receiving yards last season? Was it Evan Ingram or was it Drake London?
Drake London.
Drake London is correct, JL. Which letter would you like?
I knew it the whole time. Let's go with an N.
An N. There are 3 N's in this puzzle. We're going to add 1,500. What's your move now, Mr. Garofalo?
Mr. Krabs, I'll take an A, please.
An A. There are 3 A's in this puzzle. We're going to subtract 300.
Okay, I'll take another question.
Another question. Some more PPR fantasy points. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season, John Luke? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Jerick McKinnon or was it Tyler Algier?
Fantasy points?
Fantasy points, PPR.
McKinnon.
McKinnon is absolutely correct. Which letter would you like?
Let's go with an R.
An R. There are 2 R's in this puzzle. Adding another 1,000. This is your last opportunity to buy more vowels if you would like to do so. Or you can move on to a third and final question. Here we go. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it DeAndre Hopkins or was it Mark Andrews?
Oh, both missed time. DeAndre Hopkins. Let's go with Andrews.
You would be absolutely correct by about 40 PPR points. Which letter would you like, JL?
Oh, boy. Okay. All right. Don't mess this up, JL. Don't mess this up, JL.
Yeah, this is to bank all this money.
Okay, let's go with an S, please.
An S. There are
Ooh.
4 S's. Going to add 2K. You're going to bank all this money, JL, but you got 5 seconds to solve.
Can't do it.
Russ, we are on to you. Would you like a question or would you like to solve this puzzle?
Question, please.
Okay. My question for you is who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Adam Thielen or was it Isaiah Pacheco?
Pacheco.
I am sorry. It was Adam Thielen with
Wow.
about 50 more PPR fantasy points. John Luke, that means we are back to you. Would you like a question or would you like to solve?
Question, please.
Okay. My question for you is who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Deonta Foreman or was it Evan Ingram?
Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram is correct, JL. I read the name above the one I meant to read, but
Nice.
you got a little bit of an easier question than Curtis Samuel is the second name. Which letter would you like, JL?
All right, let's go with a T.
T. Holy moly, there's a lot of T's in this puzzle, JL. Gonna add 3,000 to your round bank. What would you like to do next?
I would like to buy an I.
Okay. There are 3 I's in this puzzle, subtracting 300.
And I would like to buy an O.
An O. There are 4 O's in this puzzle, subtracting 400. And I'm guessing by the noises Russ made up there that he's got this puzzle figured out. Just praying JL misses it.
Okay. Can I buy a E, please?
You can buy an E. There are 2 E's, and that is all of the vowels, JL. Would you like your next question or would you like to solve?
I need a question.
Okay. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Samaje Perine or was it Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I'm sorry, JL. It was Samaje Perine, which means we're back over to Russ. Russ, would you like to solve this puzzle or would you like a question?
What do I get if I solve it?
1,000.
Yeah, that doesn't help me win, though.
So a question it is?
I'm going to get the question. You know what? Screw it. Pats, Chiefs, and Titans offer contract to Hopkins.
Taking the puzzle solve at the end for
Nice.
1,000. Pats, Chiefs, and Titans offer contract to Hopkins. Nice job, Russ. You solved that one.
Hopkins
sniffed it. I almost just put Nuke down there at the end, but figured we'd get a little bit more of the name. Russ, that's going to bring you up to 8,000 and one of the highest scoring games we've ever had. JL is going to squeak out the victory, though. But Russ, you've got 20 hours of evidence right before this as a very reasonable excuse for having JL edge out today. Everybody watching, if you're not already following Russ, you need to go and follow him on Twitter at Dynasty Outhouse. Russ, thank you so much for taking the time to come and play our games with us today.
Yeah, I got the DM like, hey, you want to be on any of these days? I'm like, all of those days.
Every single one of them.
Yeah.
Well, we can't wait to have you back. And next time, we'll let you get some revenge on JL. Everybody watching, that is going to be it for us today on the Fantasy Football Game Show. But we'll be back tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time for some fantasy football pub trivia, Nickelodeon theme. Myself and Tim Wright will be running that for you. So come hang out with us at 8 o'clock. Until then, we're out of here. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. See you on another time.
We love you. Bye-bye.
We do. We really do, don't we?
We really do. It's the weirdest thing.